to my channel, Koki Creative. My name is Elena, and today we are doing a speed build, and this is the build I did for the Autumn collab. You can check that out in the gallery or Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever, by searching hashtag TS4AutumnCollab to see all these incredible fall or autumn inspired builds. Let me talk to you about what I did. Usually I do rustic builds, and I wanted to do something different this time. I definitely will be doing some rustic builds this fall season, but I wanted to start it off with something that I haven't done. I decided to do a container cafe, something that was really focused on the exterior. There isn't any interior seating in this cafe. I really focused on the exterior. Like I said, there's a lot of outdoor seating. I wanted people to enjoy that nice crisp fall air while they sipped on their pumpkin spice latte. I built this all in one sitting, by the way. I got up out of bed and I was like, oh yeah, I need to build this for, it's due tomorrow. And so I thought I want to make it a cafe. I know that for sure. Whenever I'm in a collab too, I use it as an opportunity to push myself as a builder and try to build something unique and something I've never done before. So I tried doing this pattern, and it looked a little busy when I was finished with it, so I tried taking away some of the tiles that were closer to the walkway and closer to the building, and I made it a little bit more concentrated at the lower right-hand corner, if you've noticed that. And I think it came off the way I envisioned it because I think it looks cool. I kept the pattern exactly the way it would have been if all of the tiles were there, but I just didn't want it to look too busy. My original plan wasn't to make the building in the shape of an arrow, but this is where we are. This is how I build. This is just what happens. I never have a plan going in, and I just like to see what happens. And you know what? I don't hate it. I thought I was going to hate it the second I started building it, but I'm glad that I kept it a shape of an arrow. I don't show too much of it, but I do end up using the little sharp parts as bathrooms. It ended up working out perfectly. But I like the little pattern I ended up creating above. I cut out a whole bunch of me trying to figure out what pattern I want to do up on the top of this arrow, because it's the weirdest shape, and I didn't want it to be one solid color just because I did a lot of patterns in this little walkway down below, and one big solid color up on top just didn't make sense. And then I made that giant orange arrow, and it just looked like a giant orange arrow. So then it was another half hour of me trying to figure out what pattern do I do inside of the giant orange arrow. So I really hope you enjoy the patterns that I put inside of the giant orange arrow, because I think out of this entire build, what took me the longest were the patterns on the floor. I think if I just did solid floor patterns, this build would have taken me at least an hour, maybe 2 hours less than what it had taken me, because for one, it takes me a long time to just put the floor patterns down, and two, making up what the floor patterns are going to be, because I want to do something different than I usually do every single time. I don't want to do the same exact floor patterns in every single one of the builds, although I do have like this little memory bank of, oh, I can use this pattern in a bathroom sometime. But when it's something that's like the pattern on a build, like I want this to be the main focus of the screenshot, that's very important to me. And I wanted that arrow on top of this build to be the focus. And I'm actually pretty proud of my little arrow up there, something I was not planning on doing. So here I decided to add a little bit of fall features. This is from the Seasons pack. It's usually like a table topper, but I thought it would make a really cute little addition for this makeshift awning that I'd made out of eco lifestyle little wall decorations. I used a tool mod to rotate them 90 degrees and elevate them to make them little awnings. Your Sims can easily walk underneath them. It will not bother gameplay at all. The name of this cafe is That Way Cafe, and it's an arrow, which makes total sense. But let me tell you a little bit of the backstory of this cafe. Once I saw Patchy the Scarecrow, I haven't put him down yet. That's where everything came together. That's where the stars aligned. That's where I had the full idea of what I wanted to do with this build. So let me go back to my childhood real quick. The Wizard of Oz was huge in my childhood. I Used to watch that movie like every weekend. I used to collect memorabilia. I used to try to memorize all the fun facts. I used to try to memorize all the lines of the movie and speak it along as the movie was playing. I was that kid, okay? I am sorry. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I do have a Wizard of Oz tattoo. It's a quote from Somewhere Over the Rainbow on my leg. The scene of the movie that I was inspired by for this cafe was when Dorothy ran into the Scarecrow for the first time. So it's when she was walking down the yellow brick road, as per Glinda's instruction, and she runs into a fork in the road. Glinda did not warn her about this fork in the road, so she did not know where to go. And there is a scarecrow behind her. She asks out loud to her dog, as I would probably, "Where do I go?" And the scarecrow behind her says, "That way's a very nice way." And he points in a direction, and Toto barks, and she's like, "Well, scarecrows can't talk." And then Scarecrow says something else, like, "That way's very nice way also." And then she's like, "What?" And then later they become best friends and they sing an awesome song about how he doesn't have a brain. But that is what I was inspired by in more or less words. I do place down Patchy later. He is my inspo. I've mentioned this in other videos. If you have a garden, Patchy is a great friend. He also is a great lover for your sim. You can woohoo with him if you are curious. I'm pretty sure you can also have a baby with him if you are also curious. So for those who love scarecrows out there, there really is something for everyone, I guess. I didn't want to do too much landscaping just because it is fall, autumn time, and also this is more of a modern build. There isn't a lot of landscaping to be had because I used most of the lot for this build, but any kind of green space I had left, I pretty much put a bush on it. Unfortunately, I have a hard time leaving no grass unturned, I guess you could say. Here I'm adding the famous Patchy along with a couple pumpkins because there wasn't enough pumpkins, I thought. And yes, I do add more pumpkins, so if you thought there needed to be more pumpkins, do not worry. There will be more pumpkins here. So if you are playing this and this build and it's a different time of year, let's say it's summer, it's going to be pumpkins, and that's okay because I thought maybe this would be fun, like it's a pumpkin spice year-round build. Like you can come here and imagine that though, if there was a cafe that kind of served those spicy fall flavors year-round. I think that would be actually pretty popular because there are people out there that do want pumpkin spice year-round. Here I'm creating a sign and then I get rid of the other sign. Before I forget to mention, I also changed the flooring to that brick, and it's actually technically yellow brick. I changed that as a nod to the Wizard of Oz as well as the quote-quote yellow brick road. I thought that was kind of cute. I'm adding some more lights because the sun sets earlier. We want to make sure there's plenty of lights so people can sit outside, maybe read their books and bring their laptops and do whatever people do at coffee shops. And I also wanted to add little heating areas next to the seats and lots of trash receptacles so people can properly throw away their trash. But then we head upstairs and move on to probably one of my favorite parts of this build. And I was terrified to start this area, but it ended up turning out pretty cool. I thought that the angles were going to make it really difficult. And guess what? They did. But I focused on the angles that I knew I could work with. These sectionals have saved me in so many situations. I really hope that The Sims comes out with maybe a few more of these sectionals. I don't know. But if they did, I would be very, very happy because the amount of times I use the sectionals is insane. I use it probably in almost all the builds. Obviously not base game builds because it comes with Dream Home Decorator. And there are 2 different kinds and they come with a couple different swatches, but I love them because you can just fit them in any space, including an arrow. And the hardest part about this space was what to do with the weird sharp not the arrow point, but I don't even know what to call those, but yeah, the weird little arrow parts. And I didn't even focus on those. I put the bulb lights next to pumpkins. The bulb lights are from My Wedding Stories, and they kind of resemble pumpkins in a way, so I thought they were kind of cute next to each other. So now we're moving on to the interior. Again, I do another fun floor pattern, and I'm not sure what came over me, but something told me that I need to make the interior all about Halloween and not so much about fall. But I kind of told myself too that this was more of a temporary setup, because this little triangle spot in the back where I put that like tree wallpaper, that's more of a temporary display, so maybe it changes during each holiday, during each season. So that's something that you can do if you download this and you want it to not be Halloween themed year round. But I also really wanted to use that ghost wallpaper from Spooky Stuff because I've seen it many times. I might have used it once, maybe. I've had Spooky Stuff for years, and it's a wallpaper I don't hate, but I don't like it that much, but I really want to use it. I try to use all the items that I don't really like, because the more I use items that I don't like, the more I end up liking them. So does that make sense? That's kind of what I do with fashion trends too. Like baggy pants, for example. When I first saw that, I said, oh, I would never wear those. Now, I like baggy pants because I started wearing them, okay? So that's what I try to do with stuff I don't like on The Sims, because it gives me more options if I end up liking the things that I have. If I like everything, or if I find at least a place that I can use the things that I don't like and make them work, then it gives me more options to have. Anyway, I put a little coffee display, and I also wanted to put a little rope so that way the Sims won't all gather up. Sims always steal my coffee at cafes. They always steal my little treats that I buy. And you know what I do? I also steal their little treats too. It's always chaos around the cafe table. You honestly never know what's going to go down. I did play test this, and it did kind of help with the cluttered up area there, how it always gets really congested. But Sims cannot form a line. It's just something you cannot do with your Sims. They just can't function at that high level of thinking. But we try our best, okay? We do. Anyway, now I'm kind of doing like the finishing touches. This is what I do before every single build, before I'm finished. Sometimes I go, oh yeah, I'm done with this build. No, I'm not. I'm never done with a build, okay? There's always time where I can go back and polish it up a little bit, and that's usually what I do before uploading it to the gallery. There's always something you can do to make it look nicer. I added a couple of trees because I like the way the colors looked, especially certain trees have a really nice fall color to it. Especially the tree I put right in the center. I picked that one specifically because I liked the red color. Anyway, I hope you all liked this video today. If you did, smash that like button. I'm just kidding. Give me a follow, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And I hope you see you guys in the next one. Bye!